welcome to Asfrostanis Sport. In less than 5 minutes, the much publicized Nigerian Union in Stockholm Women's Day celebration will kick off. Please stay tuned, relax, and watch.
Welcome to the Nigerian Union celebration of the Women's Day. My name is Sheila Enuoma Amobi. I am honored to be your host here tonight for this panel of discussion, and it's a very important matter. To make this discussion flowing and be as concrete as possible, we will have some topic. It's to be integrated with our new society. It's barriers of women's integration with the job market, differences in being a mother in Africa and in Sweden, and social integration.
A special guest of honor, Dr. Mrs. Amobi. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a pleasure actually to be here and to talk about this topic today. I thank the Nigerian Union for organizing this panel of discussion.
We realize today that to integrate in the Swedish society, you have to learn the language. We don't have any other choice but to learn the language so that you make the life comfortable for yourself, your friends, and the Swedish people.
It's very important to integrate in Swedish society. The first and the most important step is to learn the language. Swedish language looked difficult, but at first, but with interest, you can be able to speak the language.
Anytime we are going to talk about this thing, we talk about the language again. The language is very important. Especially for us women. You know, we are almost the backbone of the family, if the men like it or not. But I'm sure deep in their hearts, they know that it is like that. We take care of the children when they are sick. We leave the children at doggies. We leave the children at school. We take the children to playing grounds. And what do we need? We need the Swedish language. So as African women, as African women, it's so important. It's so important for us to learn the Swedish language. So that, I mean, if we are talking to our fellow women, the Swedish women, we can raise our chest high. Because they see things from different perspectives where African women are concerned. And what is it that will make us proud in this country? Is the language. Because we are exposed to so many things. As I said, the children, the school, the doggies, everything. We should be able to express ourselves when we meet the society. And the only thing that will help us is the Swedish language.
But which is the most common preconceptions you have to meet as an African woman who to Sweden, from Swedish?
Paradox. The African woman is also seen as a very strong person who brings up her children with very strong moral values. That is also one of the images or preconceptions that one meets outside. But I think at the end of the day, the African woman that finds herself in Europe or in Sweden needs to be self-confident. You need to have a thick skin in order to survive. And like my sisters have said here, language is important because without the language, how do you know what your right is? How can you argue your point? How can you protect the interest of your family and your children? You need to have a stepping stone. And without the language, you continue to remain outside. And when we talk about the language, it's not something that you learn in just one day. It is still continuous. We are still learning, even after so many years. So it's a continuous educational process that goes on.
Barriers to women's integration into the job market.
Even if you are not educated, suppose you don't have any education from Nigeria, you still have the opportunity to go to school and pursue your dream, even more than you would have had the opportunity in Nigeria, because I don't think in Nigeria it's like you don't see old people going to school. But here you can go to school even if you are 70 years. And I think it's a very good thing. So it's just the sky is your limit.
Another form of barrier I think we should talk about is also cultural shock, because most of us come here with our baggage of what it is like in Africa, and then we come in here, we see different laws and policies and initiatives going on, and we don't know how to fit into it. We just want to do things the way we normally do it back home, and when we come here, we feel so isolated, we feel so, not there, and some of us have the problem of networking, trying to gather women and trying to know where to fit in. What advice do you have for women that that came into Sweden with all this baggage? What do you advise?
When you come to a new place, you have to learn the culture of that place, and in as much as you want to preserve your culture and your traditions, but you still have to learn the culture and know what is acceptable here, what is not, what is lawful, what is not. I mean, you can't bring up your children in the way that you do in Nigeria here, otherwise you end up in the prison, for example, and other things too, So it's kind of, you have to find a balance. What are the good things in the Swedish society that I can learn? What are the less good things that maybe I should downplay? And what are the good things in our Nigerian culture that I have to preserve and make sure the children grow up with, and make sure I pass it on to the next generation.
Rich. You learn something out of it. So the positive part here, they have here in Sweden, and the one we bring from Africa, I personally feel that if we add these two things together, we could enrich it. And then through that, we bring up our children in a very nice way. It shouldn't be so difficult. All starts with this language problems. You try to integrate in the society. You try and make Swedish friends. You meet Swedes, you talk to them, you discuss with them, and through that you learn so many things, and then you know how to bring your society to bring the children up. This is what's
Topic. Difference being a mother in Africa and Sweden. And how do we combine parenthood with two cultures?
There are norms, there are people who are taking care of certain issues like bringing up the children. They play with each other. An aunt will guide a child, an uncle will guide a child. But when you come to Sweden, it is you and the father. And one thing that the children are told is that in Africa you don't have a right, but here in Sweden you have a right. So every child will come and they will say, I have my right, I know my right. But there is another thing. The reason why the society takes away the foreign children is because it is not because you mistreat your child, but there are also foster families who want these children and they want the money that they will get when they take this child and take care of them. They get their allowances. So when your child is going to a school where the teacher is always interrogating the child, are your parents treating you well? You have to be very careful because there are people who are ready to be foster parents and they are going to get their allowance. So that one is very important.
Really, let's be very factual. It's not entirely like that. I'm not sure the authority just come to your home and then because they have somebody waiting somewhere in the corner to take care of your children, therefore children are taken from you. We face so many problems. So many of these problems before. To discuss things with your children, to make them understand. When you watch TV, what you see, let them understand. When you need this to let them understand. When you go about in town, you see something, call them down to discuss. Let your children, we remind those children around 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. When you see what they say sometimes, you'll be very surprised. I think it's very essential, it's very important for us to include our children in what we say every day for them to understand. And there'll be no problem.
I work as a teacher. This is my colleague. I must say I don't really know if they take African children more than Swedish children. We don't ask kids if they slept what they had for dinner. That is not what we do with kids in school. And also, as Clara said, when you talk to children, you should sit them down, talk in a nicer voice. There's no point screaming, because the more you scream, the more the kids, they don't care, they don't listen to you.
A child is taken from the parents in this country by the Swedish social welfare system. They tell you that they are working on paragraph 50, and that is PVU. And when they take your child from you, the child is taken until you will be 18 years old before the child is released. By then, the child has lost cultural awareness, lost respect, recognition to the parents. Whereas the problem that started from home is both internal and external. The women they put in the free system, they are not all educated. Those are the women training our children that, what did you eat yesterday in the evening? Did you eat the food you eat with the fingers? Why did your mother didn't give you short fashion spaghetti? You understand? Things start from home. Train your children to understand your children. But reckon with, if your child is taken from you, 18 years is good enough. After that 18 years, no more recognition. And they don't return your children back to you again. They return them to somewhere or they live on their own. So you have to work hard on your feet and put your family together. Thank you.
If I become a parent one day, how do I deal with it? I find children telling their parents that you're stupid or mom you're stupid and so on. But I'm wondering, in Africa it's really hard to see a child telling his or her parents in this, kind of language or this voice. So I need your advice. How do I deal with it one day if I become a parent? Thank you.
Deal with this when you become a father. I think you will learn on the job. But like I said earlier, you have to take the positive things in the society and blend it with the positive things from your culture. And it will be the best alternative for you, because you can't take your Nigerian culture that is against the law here and think you will succeed. Maybe it will work on Nigerian children, but I think it's changing even in Nigeria from what I hear. And it's not going to work here, it's going to backfire. So if you want to have your children, if you want to have, if you really are interested in their future, that they will have a good future, you really have to follow the law and be a good example. Thank you.
Everyone that has a children know what to do with them. It's not by beating, or it's not by shout at them. What you have to do, spend the time with your children. Play with them, not because of, I'm the father, go to your mother, let your mother only talk to you. You have to be with your children. Spend a lot of time with them, and you will see the children will be changed.
I actually don't agree with the fact that the Swedish authority could just walk into an African home and take the child from you. I think there are processes that schools do follow.
I met many of my Swedish friends at the playgrounds when my children were small. And through that we have continued, we meet ourselves, we talk at the same group. I started working. Some people say the Swedes are very difficult to come here, but it depends on whom you are too. When we come here and we want to integrate in the society or learn the language, I think we have to try and talk to them. You meet them in the hills, the lift. Yeah, you meet them in the hills, you can talk to them. Sometimes they will shun you, but as the time continues, they also be curious. They are human beings like us. They'll be curious, you start talking, you start discussing. Like I said, I meet many of them when my children were small at the playgrounds. We meet, we talk, we discuss. When I started working, I forced myself on them. We sit down, we talk. And through that, I was even able to learn the Swedish language, because I used to tell them that I'll speak the language. If I make mistakes, You can laugh as much as you want, but correct me. And many of them found it very, very interesting. And so that I was able to make it in the society and learn the language. So these are some of the social aspects of it. And like she said, when you go to Swedish schools, you try to...
Nigerian Union can help a lot. You know, most of the people who come here, they don't even know that Nigerian Union exists, but they come through the embassy. But the embassy will inform the Nigerian Union president. There are so many things we can help them abide by integrating in Swedish society and show them how the society function. You know, how to go for employment, to register, especially when you have that four numbers. Because when you come...
But I think discussion studies needs to be, taken care of by the foreign nationals. Because we have so many common problems. The Indians, you have these Latin Americans. I think it's important to also make them understand that we are one. We need to fight these things together, struggle together, and make life worthwhile. As an organization, it's tedious. It's tedious. I understand that. It's not an easy thing to do, but you can try. Just to give it a chance.
It relates to previous discussion. And I don't want this audience to live here thinking that all we do in Africa or how we raise our children is just by spanking and beating. Much of the issues highlighted are developmentally related, and it's not unique to Nigeria. There are also different kinds of problems, even in places where it's been found to work very well. In Africa, there is a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And this is a very positive thing that we need to emulate, and we shouldn't allow it to go away through capitalism or industrialization.
These husbands, many men, when their wives arrive in this country, they are so afraid that the women will meet other friends and make friends, and I don't know to say if they will interact in the society. Some of the men are so afraid. But please, if your wives come newly, don't be scared of anything. Give them the chance to meet other people, to learn the language, to know so many things in the society, so that you all live happily, and make it. Don't be afraid of anything. This is a problem, among many of our African brothers. So please, men, this is what I'm appealing to you, that if your wives come, just give them the rope and let them meet other people in the society. And I remember last year when we were here, Mrs. Sheila Amobi said we women should take very good care of ourselves by doing gymnastics. We have to look beautiful for our men so that they don't watch other women. So let's take care of her. I remember it very well. So I hope many of us are doing it and taking it very seriously. It's very important. Thank you. Bye.
What I want to add is the union would also from time to time also be organizing seminars for Nigerians, especially those that are just arriving new, and some of them don't even know the conditions of living here. So it's just appropriate that from time to time seminars be organized for them, let them know the rules of bringing up children in this place, let them know what it takes to live here and how to go about their things and how to also go about looking for employment or whatever. And again, Madam said something, the doctor, she said adult education is only here. Madam, we have adult education in Nigeria. It's only a matter of you taking advantage of it. Nigeria has everything you can think of. Are you willing to take advantage of it? If you are not willing, then you think that there's nothing in Nigeria. Nigeria has everything in front of you. Thank you.
So as I was saying, many people are telling me, Eugene, you always support women. Anytime you crack joke, you make women feel they are beautiful. You make them feel they are empowered, they are controlling us men. Why would I not make women feel that they are controlling us men? Are they not controlling us? As a matter of fact, all the jokes I write tonight, they are 20. insisted on me that I must crack tonight. I told her, I said, honey, you cannot do this because they are old jokes. She said, yes, they make me happy, crack them. I said, the second one is, they are not funny. He said, yes, go there and fool yourself, it makes me happy. You know, and people always tell people, women, sometimes when I come to show, when I talk to men, they don't react. But when I talk to women, they react. When I ask them questions, they don't answer. But when I ask women questions, they answer. You know, that's why I always tell people, like, right from the beginning, women, they have always been wiser than us. And I'm going to ask that same question again. I always ask it, men and women, who is stronger?
Because as we know, when you empower women, they go on to empower their children and to change the society. So congratulations, women, and keep them. And I also want to mention, I remember what my dear sister, Mrs. Subero, mentioned about Mrs. Sheila Enuoma Amobi, yeah, talking about as we face these challenges, my mantra is that we first need to take care of ourselves as women. So I always preach, take care of the whole woman, body, spirit, and soul. So she mentioned about taking care, exercising, eating right, that is taking care of your body, women, taking care of your souls, which is your mind, your emotions, through meditation, through reading, through increasing in knowledge, taking care of your spirit, through your connection with God, because I mean we as Africans, we still believe in God and try and maintain that connection to a supreme being. So women, I'm not going to take up much of your time, but I just want to single out certain categories of women that we celebrate this evening. I want to first celebrate older women because we recognize the wealth of experience, knowledge, and wisdom that comes with age. I want to celebrate younger women who are on a journey of self-discovery with goals and ambitions and a desire to succeed. I want to celebrate professional women. We had a number of them on the panel. These women have broken glass ceilings and gone on to be all they can be and not allowed themselves to be limited by anyone or by anything. They've gone on to achieve great things in the fields of academics and have excelled in the workspace. I want to celebrate all working women who leave their homes daily to provide not only for themselves but for their families while striving to be the best they can be. I want to celebrate women who honor their experience and can stand up and tell their own stories boldly. I want to celebrate women who carry themselves with dignity and respect and treat their needs and desires with tenderness and grace. I want to celebrate women who meet every challenge with creativity and act with clarity and strength. I want to celebrate women of every shape and size who believe that they are beautiful just the way they are. And finally, I want to celebrate women who know that they are created in the image of God.
to our website, Facebook. We are here to unify and be as one Nigeria. Thank you very much and have a nice party.
Hello viewers, welcome to Afro-Scandic Guest Spot. My name is Enuoma Amobi. I'm in Uppsala today. I'm here to interview Enuoma Amobi, who is a pharmacist. Recently, the Nigerian Union in Stockholm had their Women's Day celebration, and the topic of discussion was women's integration in the Swedish society. And Enuoma Amobi was one of the members of the panel that discussed that topic. So I'm here in Uppsala to follow up on that discussion. And I would like you to join me and welcome Enuoma Amobi. You are welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for allowing us into your home. You have a beautiful house.
Thank you.
I want to follow up on that discussion we had, or we started in the recent concluded Women's Day celebration, and that was about women's integration. I saw that a lot of women were interested to know more about this topic, and some of them approached me to follow you guys up to see to know more and to see what you guys have to say, because it was so beautiful and so, it was so surprising. We still have women that were able to make it in the society despite the challenges of integration and all that. So my first question is this: what does integration mean to you from an immigrant woman's perspective? What does it mean to you?
Yes, integration is a very vital aspect of immigration. Integration, in my opinion, there are different aspects to it. And it actually starts from the moment you leave the unfamiliar in order to join the familiar. That's when the process starts. And it is an ongoing process. It may be easy to identify when it starts, but the end is often not something that is easily identifiable.
Okay.
So it is an ongoing process, and when you are in this journey, which we call immigration journey, it is very vital. In the Swedish context, and in my own opinion, social integration is very, very important.
Okay.
It is central because it involves you to be proficient in the language. That's one. Number two, it involves an acceptance of the laws and the norms of the society.
Okay.
That's number two. And number three, it also involves an adoption of a certain set.
Common values. Setting set,
yeah. Common values of the society that which you live in. And when you have these three things in place, you tend to gain an insight into the society, and this insight will then equip you and give you access to the services, access to the rights, access to the opportunities that are available to the people who are actually in the mainstream of the society. So integration is something I think is a two-way process.
Okay.
It involves the immigrant to be dedicated and committed. Okay. It also involves the host country to also show dedication and commitment for this to actually work successfully.
What were the problems you faced when you came into Sweden, and how were you able to overcome them?
Yes, I came, like most women who immigrate.
Yeah.
It was love, marriage that brought me to Sweden. I would rather not call these things problems. I would refer to them as challenges.
Okay.
Yes. Because it's not easy to come into a new country and learn a new culture, a new way of life, a new language. It involves a lot of thought, a lot of dedication, and it is an educational process. I think for us immigrants that come from Africa and move to Europe, it is perhaps one of the greatest sacrifices anyone can make, because you leave the familiar environment, you leave the sound and smell and warmth of your family, and then you wade into this territory that is altogether unknown to you. So it is a sacrifice.
Of course it is.
And if you decided to make this sacrifice, I think at the back of your mind, it is also important to realize that there will be challenges to it.
You're right. Yes.
Yes. So initially, I was very lonely.
Okay.
I felt a social exclusion, most especially because of the language barrier and because of a lack of, social friends network.
Okay.
Yes. I come from a large family. I'm the fourth out of 8 children.
Wow.
So you can imagine the buzz in our home when friends and relatives were coming and going out. There was always...
Especially in African context.
Exactly. People were always around and things were, and then you leave all that and come into a society where you know absolutely nobody apart from your husband. So it was isolated. I felt very much isolated and lonely. But I cannot overemphasize the importance of language in a society. With a language, it functions like a key. You can unlock a door. And then one door leads to the next door, to the next door, to the next door. And that is the first step for me.
The language is the first step.
For me, it was the first step that gave me the confidence to be able to wade into this territory that was quite unknown to me. Yeah. I also remember that academically, I wanted to integrate myself as well, because it's not just socially. But there were some challenges.
You had your BSc or whatever in Nigeria before you came to Sweden. Okay.
I have my
How did that
BSc
work
degree.
out here?
Yeah, I have my BSc degree from UNN.
UNN, oh.
Exactly. Before I came to Sweden.
And that's a reputable university, no? One of the high-ranking universities in Nigeria.
Yes, it is one of Nigeria's best.
Best, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So to come from UNN with my BSc degree, the sky is your limit.
Exactly.
So, but on getting here, I started actually a research program, a master's in medical immunology department at Uppsala University. But somewhere along the line, I wanted to go back to school and read pharmacy. And I had thought that my BSc degree would count as a merit into the pharmacy program. But I was very much surprised that it didn't. And I kept on being referred back to my secondary school certificate. And also, I got to realize that there was no set evaluation criteria for how certain science subjects could be evaluated in Sweden if they originate from certain parts of the world. So that was a big surprise to me. So it required me to go back and do A-levels physics.
Here in Sweden?
Here in Sweden.
Wow, that's...
Alongside with studying the language to get the A-level that was needed.
That's quite a sacrifice.
For admission into pharmacy.
And you have already done this physics and chemistry, of course, back in Nigeria.
To get a BSc degree in Nigeria,
you must have...
exactly.
You have passed that. That's even high school, actually, for you to be able to get... Yeah.
Exactly.
So you were able to go back and achieve this...
Yes, I was very determined. And I would like to say that determination, perseverance, determination, patience, and wisdom.
I think patience is very important here in Sweden. Yes.
There are no shortcuts.
Exactly.
People might want to do things, and if anybody tells you there is a shortcut, please turn the other way and turn another road. There is no shortcut. Says that I would like to encourage immigrant people, especially African women. Number one, to be confident in yourself, confident in who you are and what you have. And number two, I would encourage them to be proactive in their approach.
Okay.
And when I mean proactive,
yes.
I mean you anticipate the problem before it becomes a problem. In the sense that you settle in your mind that you will not always be fairly treated. Settle in your mind that things will not always go the conventional way. Because when you do this, you are now in a position, if you find yourself in a precarious situation, you can then, you're better equipped to handle it. Instead of acting from a situation, a position of surprise, you have already equipped yourself with what you need. That's what I mean by being proactive. This helps you to make wise choices. And I keep on emphasizing on wisdom and perseverance because it is rarely will the society select you. That's just the way it is.
Okay.
You have to select yourself.
That's a good one. That's really a good one.
You have to select yourself, and you do this by making wise choices and having long-term plans. Plans that do not just end today or tomorrow, or that yield quick results today and then vanish tomorrow. Plans that can actually get you somewhere in the long term.
That is a wonderful, wonderful advice.
And because integration is a two-way process, you also need to understand the society we live in.
Exactly.
There was a book that was on this table here. It's called Sweden, Sverige, the New Millennium Series. I would encourage people to read about the history of Sweden. Read about the people that you live in their country. Get to know what drives what. When people behave in a certain way, there is a thing with us. Yes, it is this book. There is a thing with us. You can look at it later on if you.
I can just show the viewers. It's a very nice book to read. Recommended by Fobasielu.
I like it because even though I've lived in Sweden on and off for over 17 years now, I still read this type of books because it gives you a certain kind of insight.
Is it in English or Swedish?
It's in Swedish, unfortunately. I don't know if there is an English version, but this version is in Swedish. But in any case, what this type of insight gives you is you begin to have an understanding for why things are the way they are and why people are the way they are. Because most times people tend to judge other people's actions from their own point of cultural view.
Exactly.
You know, and because it does not correspond with what you already know, you tend to think that, oh, that's strange. But to the other person, it's actually not strange. It doesn't mean that if you accept something, that you make it your own view. You do not have to have those views, but at least you now have an understanding
of why they have such a view.
The way it is.
That's good. I know you have given so many advice already, but for somebody a woman that just came into Sweden, what advice would you want to give to her to be able to move on to the next phase of her life?
First of all, I would like to tell this person you know who you are. You know where you come from. Some people don't even know where they come from, but we have that advantage. You know who you are. You know where you come from. Now, that is something that will motivate you to actually humble yourself and get to know the society where you have moved into. It doesn't mean that you become a doormat. What it means is that you're opening up yourself to actually, approach this society in a way that will benefit you. So I would encourage this person who is new in Sweden to actually humble yourself.
That's a good one.
Learn the language. It does not really matter. The interest you show and the enthusiasm you show.
But they always complain that the language is too hard.
I really would like to encourage women. Be proactive. You could sit in your own little space and complain all day long, and compare with this country and that country and, compare with the rest of the whole world.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you are still here.
That's true.
And if you keep complaining, 1 year would come and pass and you haven't done, or nothing has happened or changed, and you are still complaining. 2 years, you are still complaining. 3 years, you are still complaining. And at the end of the day, complaining becomes a part of the way you deal with things. But being proactive, you cannot sit and wait for things to come to you. Because rarely will it happen that way. You know?
Wow, that's a very good advice. Really good advice. Like what you said now, the three basic things from the discussion we have now, the three basic things any person, any woman out there needs to do to get more integrated into the system is language. You have to learn the language very well, and you have to update your credentials like you did. You have to upgrade your foreign certificates, and then you have to you have to socialize.
Yes.
You know, to be able to be integrated as much as possible.
If we got that.
Thank you so much, Enuoma.
Thank
it's a
you.
pleasure having you in the program.
Thank you.
Welcome back, viewers. Joining me now is Mrs. Naomi Chukwumeze, the Minister, Deputy Head of Missions, Nigerian Embassy. Ma, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Enuoma. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. The pleasure is all mine.
Yes.
We are still continuing with the topic, women's integration. And I want to ask you this question based on your position as the Minister and the Deputy Head of Missions here in Sweden. What do you think are the barriers Nigerian immigrants are facing in terms of integrating into the Swedish society?
Nigerian immigrants face a number of barriers in their quest to integrate into the Swedish system, amongst which is one of the first barrier that confronts one is language barrier. You have to get past that barrier of language because the Swedish system, everything is conducted in Swedish, and Swedish is the only recognized language, official language here. Everything is written in in Swedish. Even the newspapers, you can't get even one single English paper or media.
Except the local.
Except the local, which is really not Swedish. It's an international paper. So that's one of the things. You must have to first learn the Swedish language before you even talk about anything else, you know. Other obstacles would include also, you need to find means of making a living. We're talking jobs now.
Exactly.
And that is not easy at all. First of all, most Nigerians who come here would have problem with their qualifications being recognized as being at par with the Swedish qualifications. So you have to do what they call recertification, which is a long process. First of all, you have to get your certificates translated into Swedish. Thereafter, it might not satisfy them, then you have to go into training, retrain, in order to bring you at par with the qualifications that are acceptable to the Swedish people. I mean, so to say, we're talking about Swedish standards. So to say, so you need those requisite skills that are acceptable to Swedish standards. So that's the second barrier. The third one, I would say, is culture. Maybe that may not be too difficult one, but that culture also has a lot of things.
When you're talking about cultural barrier, what exactly are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about people being used to who you are, the sum total of who you are. You're African. This is a European country, Northern European country, and somehow, because of our history, because of also what we see often in the media, the way Africa is portrayed, there's always that, assumption that you probably may not be all that people see, so you have to kind of prove yourself. It's also the problem of
housing. It's not that, I would say that is not directly but indirectly, I would say it's an incidental problem.
Okay.
You do need to find a place to stay, if possible, if it can be reasonably comfortable, to enable you, if you do find a job, discharge your duties wherever you have been accepted, reasonably, well. So you do need a place to stay, and places don't come easy in Sweden.
I heard that some people have been in queue for over 3, 4, 5 years.
Correct.
Trying to
yes,
get a place.
even longer if you're looking for particular, kind of places. Even people have. I was reading in the local the other day. Someone has been waiting for, I can't remember, a whole lot of years.
Yes.
10 years or maybe even longer. So, but anyway, that's another problem. So you understand what I'm saying.
Of course,
that there's that problem. If you don't have a place of your own where you can go and relax, then you're not properly integrated, so to say.
I really appreciate all the things you've said so far, but the fact still remains there are a lot of women out there that have not found it very easy to integrate into the system. They have the problem of the language, like we've said, and they are trying their best to get, into the system. And then the non-recognition, like you said, of the foreign certificate is a problem, because I've heard somebody that wanted to start something and they told her to go and bring your high school certificate, and she has already finished a BSc course in Nigeria, and then they said go get physics or biology and all that. And in Nigeria, if you don't have this, you can't even get a BSc, because that's one of the documents you have to submit for them to grant admission. So some of them are really still having this problem getting into the labor market with what they have. They have to settle for the less paid jobs and all that. What advice do you have for these women? Because they are there, I'm telling you, they are really, really there, and majority of them are getting frustrated.
What advice I would give to them is, first of all, they must be prepared to be patient. And if I were them, I'm aware that people, when they're here, they do all kinds of odd jobs. The Bible says, whoever finds, whatever you find to do, do it with all your might. So they can start small. This is not just a problem that is peculiar with Sweden. Anytime you relocate, you lose something, even if it's within the same country or the same city. Once you relocate, you must be prepared to lose something. It costs you something. Moving from one place to another, one area to one location to another. You must give up something. So the trick is to start small. Don't have very high aspirations. You can have them and pray about them for those of us who pray, and keep them in view. But be prepared to start small. Anything that you lay your hands on to do, go ahead and do it. Whilst you prepare yourself, to bring yourself to the standards of the Swedish when they can accept you. I'm aware that lots of Nigerians are into this nurses' aid, jobs, and I think they are quite reasonably well paid too. So
majority of them are in that.
Some are even doing cleaning jobs. Me personally, I can do anything. Even at this,
I like
this level,
the advice you are giving, that they should start small, and then, but starting small exactly doesn't mean they have to stay there. They just have to start working themselves up to the
yes. Yeah. Whilst you're training, because these jobs you don't have to do them, 8 hours a day of every day. So you devote the rest of the time to upgrading your skills, so as to bring you to the acceptable standard.
What is the embassy doing to help these women in terms of maybe organizing seminars or whatever? What can you do to help these women?
That's a tall order. Well, first of all, I'd like to say to you, first of all, that the embassies are not functioning the way that when I was a young officer, I joined the system. This is not how the embassies were functioning as they are now. And the problem basically is one of funding.
Okay.
Now, as our responsibilities have grown, Nigeria as a country has grown, so our responsibilities, our activities, our relations have also expanded. They are on a larger scale. But instead, if you look down the line at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the funding of Nigerian global relations, the funding is going down, or it has gone down considerably.
With the little they have, can they just, help these women, not financially, but at least through information and all that, be able to walk through organizations?
You have such activities. You are aware that the ambassador has been holding town meetings, with Nigerians, in diaspora, all over the entire Nordic countries. Well, those that we are accredited to. And it's times like this they rub minds and find ways of helping, Nigerians resident here. And also, as I was saying to you, we work with the unions, small groups here, Nigerian organizations based here. The Nigerian Union, for instance, it is our advice to our people that you should belong to the union. If you cannot belong to the union, there are other smaller cultural groups, some of them like ethnic groups, and different kinds of groups. You should try and belong to one. Then you'll be able to, they say, like we Christians, the Bible says, iron sharpeneth iron. They'll be able to help you and share with you their own experiences, how they were able to overcome the problems, their difficulties, give you advices, how you can get around some of these obstacles, hurdles, difficulties, So we do advise our people to do that. And one very important thing that we do, our role here can only be advisory. As you said, we may not be able to train you in the kind of way that you are saying, but now and then, as I said, I'm sure this town, but I'm sure that there must be some kind of instructive meetings that can benefit our people out here, And we in some cases we can offer seminars that in areas that we help, and oftentimes, mind you, these small groups, the embassy has always helped them, whether in terms of funding. No matter how small it is, we do try to show an interest so they know that we are working together and that we approve of what they're doing, So these are some of the ways, And one of the greatest advice that we give to our people is do something constructive, do something that will make your country proud.
That's good. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you, German.
I hope the Nigerians will learn one or two things from that and improve their lives in Sweden.
I hope my contribution will be useful. Thank you very much again for having me.
Viewers, we still have other people to interview, so stay tuned.
Hello viewers, welcome back to Afroscadi Guest Spot. Joining me now is Dr. Chinedu Oji. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's nice having you on the program.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
I'm still following you guys everywhere you go, still asking questions about the women integration discussion we had during the Nigerian Union in Stockholm Women's Day celebration. I'm so passionate about that topic. That's why I followed you right down to Stockholm. From your own perspective, as a non-Swedish woman, what does integration mean to you?
Well, integration in Sweden for women or for a woman, it means like coming into this society and trying to adjust and
making a living and feeling at home in the society. So just to simplify, it's just feeling at home in a new society. Yeah,
that's a good one. So simplified. Feeling at home in a new society. But it's fraught. I mean, it poses a lot of challenges.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. What challenges did you face?
Yeah.
Of
course, it's
moved down here.
Yeah. Because Sweden is not an English-speaking country, so the most difficult challenge was the language.
Okay.
Yeah, but in Sweden, the government has made it like possible for immigrants to learn the language fast if you really want to. Yeah.
Okay.
They have this Swedish for invandrare, Swedish for foreigners in every area. So if you just register and you go for the course, it's maybe 6 months, 1 year.
Did you face that challenge when you came here?
I faced that challenge when I came. So I started. The first thing I did was to start with the Swedish for foreigners.
Okay.
So after 6 months, I was able to at least communicate in Swedish.
Wow, that was a record time.
Yeah, but if you really put your interest in it, you will learn it. So that's the most important challenge. And then you also have to learn, like, how does the system work? What kind of jobs can I do, depending on your background, you know.
Were you a medical doctor?
I read medicine in Nigeria, so it was like, how do I get into the system? So I met like some people that kind of scared me. Oh, here you can work as a doctor, it's impossible. Maybe you can work as an auxiliary nurse and so on. But then I registered with the work office. It's called Arbets for Medley. And there you can get coaches, mentors. So I got this mentor, a retired medical doctor. She was like, no, you don't settle for anything. You must pursue your career. So she really encouraged me. So I started like studying, because I had to do an exam for foreign doctors.
Okay.
So I had to study for it, the language. And
you didn't need to go back to the school?
No, I didn't need to go back to school, just to pass the language test for medical staff and then to pass the medical exam. So I did that. And
I guess your case is a little bit different from other women's complaints. I think Ifeoma Sebo was actually telling me that she was asked to go and get her physics, high school physics, to be able to move to the next level. No, and she had to do physics again here in Sweden. So your own case is quite different from hers. But anyway, the bottom line is that you guys were able to overcome this challenge.
You just have to be strong and believe in yourself, because no matter what, Sweden is a country where the sky is your limit. I mean, even if you came here without any education, and you learn the language, the schooling is free, and you can just continue your education to whatever level you want to, even if you don't have a university education.
Some of the barriers the women say they are facing actually is this language you talked about, and then no recognition of their certificates. You guys inspired me a lot. You know, coming to Stockholm that day to see that we still have women at the top there. The conception is that it's very difficult to get up there. So it was really inspiring to see you, to see some other women that have already made it in their various professions, you know, giving these advices to these women. But at the same time, there are still women that are still struggling. Some of them came to Sweden with their, you know, university certificates, but still they are finding it difficult to integrate. What do you think is the problem?
Well, maybe it depends on what you also studied in the university. So one has to be willing to adjust. If you studied something that maybe does not sell here, and that you don't have any way of getting into the system here, then maybe you can try and study something else. Don't get so discouraged that, oh, I'm old, or oh, will that just be a waste? I mean, no education is a waste. So just try and change course and study something else. I know, like, people that studied, like I have a friend
that studied business education in Nigeria. Now she's studying to become a nurse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can just start somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's good. My next question is this: the Swedish people are a little bit closed, closed up. They don't really interact or socialize with them. What advice do you have for such women that are feeling so lonely and isolated in the system?
Well, my advice is try to think positive.
I think that's a good point.
Try to think positive. If the Swedish people are closed in and they don't say hello, be the one to say hello and smile.
Exactly.
And you will be surprised they will smile. You'll be surprised they are friendly. Just try to make a move and then associate with those that you can associate with. Maybe your fellow Africans. Those that
maybe they keep trying and then one day they'll open up.
If you have children and the children go to school, try and associate with the parents of the other children, the Swedish children. Go for activities, go maybe training at the gym, going for different activities. Like this restaurant now, the woman that owns the restaurant, she's also an African. And she was telling us about this cooking groups.
They have. So that's my next question coming to. She said they have this African Swedish organization whereby they help the women that are coming in. So it's not just the government that has to help the women. It's various organizations. Have to bring out activities that can help them socialize and all that. So what do you think? What activities can these organizations, not just forming organizations for partying and all that, they should be able to come up with something positive to help the women that are immigrating to the country to be able to feel part of the system. What activities do you think that these organizations can involve themselves in to be able to help these women?
Well, these organizations, like the one she mentioned, they have like cooking sections, and they also help. I know some organizations that help women, like if you want to start your own business, they can help you, maybe help you with the capital, or even just tell you how to go about it, which institution you should make contact with, how to get a loan, or even go for these courses, starter agents they call it here, starting your own business. The government has courses for it, and it's free, and that's also a way of helping women too, because it's important for women to also feel that they can sustain themselves, sustain their families.
Exactly. I'm so intrigued about this restaurant and then what she told us before we started this interview about this African Swedish corporation or organization. So that means in that organization they also have Swedish people that are there, so the Africans are able to integrate with them, and the Swedish try to learn their culture or whatever it is. So that's a very good thing. But another barrier people are talking about is about cultural differences. Sometimes we come from Africa with our ideas of how to do things, and we are finding it difficult to adjust to the host country's ideologies and culture and all that. What advice do you have for such women that are finding it difficult to balance these two cultures?
Well, it's not easy to just...
Because they are really getting into trouble, actually.
It's not easy to just turn around when you grow up in another environment. You have imbibed other cultures and traditions. It's not easy to just make a turn around like this, but just try and be open. Try and see that, the world is a big place. We all have different cultures. Try to adjust and accommodate other cultures. Not that you should kind of sell your values or lose your values, but try and accommodate other cultures.
Thank you so much. Finally, what advice would you give to a woman that just came into Sweden? What advice can you give to her? She's trying to find a balance, she's trying to find her way into the system. What advice can you give to a woman like that?
My advice is, don't be too depressed.
Because it can be.
Especially if you come in the winter. Yeah,
just keep on.
Yeah.
The summer is coming soon.
Yeah.
And try to make friends with right people that will give you right
right
advice,
advice.
that will
That's
lift
good.
you up.
That's good.
And encourage you. So whichever path you are taking, if it's education or business, or you are a home wife, I mean, so that you'll feel fulfilled in whatever calling that you have.
And learn the language.
Of course. So the first thing is to register at SFE
and learn the language. And probably, like you people said during the discussion program in the Nigerian Union in Stockholm, Women's Day celebration, that another thing is for them to update their credentials to meet the Swedish standard, and then socialize in a positive way, because socialization can come in a negative way too.
Don't socialize only with your tribes people, because you won't
you'll be
develop.
You'll be restricted.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor, for joining us.
Hello viewers, welcome back to Afroscadi Guest Spot. Joining me now is the president of the Nigerian Union in Stockholm, Mr. Dominic Emene. Please help me welcome Mr. Dominic.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I want to start by congratulating you for such a wonderful Women's Day celebration. I must tell you, I was inspired and it was a huge success. Congratulations.
Many thanks. Thank you.
What inspired you to do this for the women in Stockholm, Nigerian women in Stockholm?
Well, when I came into the post as Nigerian Union President, been trying to organize and put some little bit input into the Nigerian community to do something a little bit different, just get away from the same scenario about Nigerian thing, have to add a little bit more of the westernized Nigerian, do things on a different level that then we think about, we did something a little bit like that last year, but it wasn't so much like this time around. So it was okay, we focus on, because I know about a lot of Nigerians are married to Nigerians, I brought them newly Nigerians. I know what is going on in the community. Some of them are just in their own world. They don't want to integrate into the society. So then we said, okay, we should try to honor our women and able to have a kind of a seminar where women should be able to understand the society they belong and able to understand the Swedish system and able to expose the men to their husbands that are probably a part of their problems, to the husband should be able to understand what is going on. So this is why we started to say, okay, we should be able to have this panel and honor the women and know that the Swedish society should honor, respect women, and we should also honor our wives and our Nigerian women and let them know what is going on in society. So that was just the whole thing about it.
Okay, that's why you chose the topic women's integration into the Swedish system.
Yeah.
You are trying to respond to a need in the society.
Exactly. Yeah, because of our women, most of them are just on their own, in their own world. They don't understand the society they belong to.
So the main purpose was to encourage them to integrate within the Swedish system, or to enlighten them about what is going on around them.
It's both to enlighten them and to make them to come into the system.
Okay, there are a lot of questions and a lot of concern that a lot of women were asking questions. They wanted to know more about this. Even men also, they wanted to know more, which was it's a very important topic. Because why I said that, because I've been able to talk with a lot of women and they were like, that was the best topic ever, because it exposes a lot of things to them. But my question is now, because the women are saying that, okay, fine, this topic has been discussed, what's a further step are you going to take to make sure that this, is actualized? What activities is the union involving to make sure they help these women overcome this integration problem?
Yes, as a matter of fact, and we, as you said, it was a very positive event.
Yes, it was.
And that we got so many positive remarks about it that I was amazed myself.
And people were telling me, we're going to have our Independence Day celebration. People were saying, why don't we have that kind of topic again?
Okay.
Then I said, no, it will not really work out. Let's try to let it be. We'll keep it on the Women's Day, because the Women's Day, the union celebrates that every year in May. Then I said, okay, now we're planning. It's okay, we should be able to probably have a seminar.
Okay.
Which we are seeing that if you can do that before the October event or immediately after the October event. So since the union is a little bit on break now, but I've been working behind the scene so that we should have a kind of a business networking.
Okay.
Where we could able to invite both the men and the women and encourage them how to go into the society. Probably like women there, those of them who come to this, who believe that they cannot find a job in Sweden. There's a job in Sweden. This thing, just how do you go about it?
Okay.
So we're able to inform them how they can go about with a job with their best family, with going to school. That is very, very important. They have to understand the language. When they understand the language, then they should be able to tell them the basic, the most easiest way for them to look for a job. And able to get other women who have made it, who came a little bit earlier than them, and were able to get jobs. These are the kind of a seminar we're planning to just business networking, job networking.
To follow up on
to follow up on that thing. So that program is already on a pipeline where we can expose these women how they can able to find job. There's job in Sweden, but just that you cannot just see that Swedish people, they just want what kind of reference do you have. So this kind of references is things that we made them how to get references so they can able to go and do a job, do pratique, just things about. So these are we are planning to do that kind of seminar very soon, probably in September.
Okay, because another problem they were talking about is they feel so lonely and isolated. Back home in Nigeria, you have a lot of people around you. You have many people around you. Don't even feel lonely. But here it's like they are so much on their own. So that alone is also, making them to feel so isolated from the system. What advice do you have for such women that feel, oh, I'm out of place here. This is not working out?
Well, that is true, because what happens that most of our Nigerian people, they decide to live among themselves. That alone does not really help out. When you see people living in the same areas, they segregate themselves in one place. They eat the same. They try to speak the same language, eat the same food. They don't really understand that they are living in a different society. So, and Nigerian Union, we are planning. This is something we have done about 3 months ago. We wanted to have a kind of Nigerian kitchen. We have a locale right now that we're going to invite our women. They can come there and we all work together and cook Nigerian food. Okay. Then invite Swedish, invite other African nationality. This we plan to do once in a week, kind of a Nigerian kitchen. Okay. It's not probably about money making. It's just about people can able to understand Nigerian, because in Stockholm right now we don't have any Nigerian restaurants.
Yes, I've been looking for one since I came.
We don't have it, and everybody just trying to. They've been trying. Nobody wants. Okay, maybe we can take the initiative to have something like that where we can exhibit our food. People can come in. Then all those women and some men who probably after work they don't have anywhere to go, they can come to that locale and maybe eat. And we try to get Nigerian drinks. They can able to interact, play games, and we discuss about what is happening at homes in back home Nigeria and within Sweden here we live. So these are the follow-up we wanted to do.
That is very wonderful. And we know that integration is a complex process anyway. Yes. And then it's fraught with a lot of hardship and then sometimes difficult to achieve. But as the president of the Nigerian Union in Stockholm, what were your experiences
when you came into the country? You know, how were you able to integrate? So maybe if you share your experience, maybe other people will learn and know how to go about it.
Well, actually, when I came to this Sweden, somehow I think, I don't know if I was lucky or just because I was a little bit smarter or focused, you know. Because when I came to Sweden, actually, let me say that within 8 months when I came to Sweden, then I would not even have my papers. I was able to meet some friends.
Swedish friends?
No, not a little bit Africans who have been living here for a long time. And able to, one or two Swedes too. Then I was able to, by then in Stockholm, we didn't have any black clubs here. When I mean black club, not just club for the black people, for the black music. We didn't have anything like real black music club. Then I was able to meet a friend from Gambia, and we were able to set up a club called Harlem Nights.
Okay.
This is within 8 months in Sweden. I was able to achieve that. People think that I've been living here for a long time. We did that. I got some Swedish boys, DJs, they were playing, and that club, that was 93, that club, Harlem Nights, in Fashion. And that was the first real R&B club in Stockholm that played real not African music, black American music.
Okay.
You know, R&B, soul. It was the first time in Sweden here, in Stockholm here, they were just playing all the kind of rave music, house music and all that. That one, it happened because I was able to focus myself in, okay, I love this entertainment, then I go into it. Then it works out. You know, I achieved this thing without, having a opposition or things like that, but people never knew. So that's what I'm saying. You can achieve a lot. Some people sometimes say, I don't have phone numbers, I don't have this, I don't have that. If you know what you want, you can be able to do that without all those things. Then those things will come up. It shouldn't be your barrier. So that was how I was able to do those things in the early stage. I was able to, mix up with a lot of people. I didn't mix up with just only Nigerians. No, I have to meet up people who have been living here for a long time, who were able to tell me what to do. Then I was able to go into so many record companies. Then after that clubbing, I was able to do a promotion, bringing up a lot of American artists here in Stockholm. We did that. So, and that was that kind of experience I had today, those days, that I'm using right now into the Nigerian Union, trying to create something a little bit entertainment, do something different
from what they used to.
Yeah, the what they used before, just to be that like just a typical African thing. We have to make it more international.
That's good, because during the Nigerian Women's Day, I saw a lot of women from other African countries. I saw Kenyans, Ugandans, and Ethiopia and all that. I was really, really impressed. It was not just a Nigerian thing.
No, we don't do that. We try to make it open because Nigeria is the giant of Africa. We know that when we do something, we're able to invite all African countries. They come there to see their big brothers are doing something. So these are the focus. So that it just don't be just Nigeria, it to be just African thing.
So we are waiting for next year. I wonder what the topic will be.
Yeah. I think a lot of during this integration, I think we came up with some people asking about this child upbringing. How do we bring out,
that was my next question.
Raise up children?
That was going to be my next question to you.
I think that will be what we should be discussing next year.
Yes. Yeah. Because a lot of Nigerians have really got into trouble, trying to, because it's like moving into another culture and you are carrying over your culture into that culture, and then you are trying to balance the culture of the host country and the culture from where you are coming from. And most of them have not balanced it very well and they run into trouble. What advice do you have for such families that are right now in trouble or going to have trouble doing that?
Yeah, what I can say that we that come from Africa, we have our African culture. Then we came to Sweden, that has the Swedish culture. I mean, we need to balance. It's not that we just have to just throw away our African culture and just take, become Swedes at the time. No, we can't be Swedes, but at the same time, we're able to balance the two culture, remove the negative part of the African culture that is not really that cannot go into the society. Then we take the Swedish one that is okay too. We balance it, because the issue is that when it comes to the child upbringing, is in the society here, you don't beat a child, you don't spank a child, but we need the own system that they need to talk to the children. We need to have this kind of word of a communication dialogue with the child. These are the things that we have to try to do in Africa. Sometimes me myself, sometimes I get angry with my kids, but sometimes I find that, but when I get angry, it doesn't really help out. One needs to talk to them, because this is society they know their right as a child. They go to school, and we just have to really try to understand the system and accommodate and balance it up. Because we cannot just, no, I'm an African, I have to, this is the way it's supposed to be, I have to do this. If you're my child, I have to discipline you by beating you, or by spanking you, or drawing your ears,
twisting your
ears. Those things doesn't really work out. So we just have to let it go and try to communicate more with the children.
I think the problem is like some of us that came over here, we already have our, already have this way of training our children back home. And then when you come here, the society is telling you some other thing. But I think during the SFE, whatever, when somebody comes into the country, the first place it goes is the SFE. Yes. You have to enroll for the language. I think they should be teaching them, equipping the immigrants how to handle things here in Sweden. Because if they don't know, they will still be handling it their own way. And then they'll run into trouble. That's what I feel.
Yes, I believe somehow the SFE teach a little bit of things. Then when women, when they are pregnant and they have delivered, they have this system to this BABA group.
Okay.
Where I think in that group, I know that they also teaches women. I think they have a lot of courses in all those BABA groups. That I know, because I have been there one time with my wife to see what's happening, and so they go through a lot of courses. So I believe that somebody who is open, but that is the problem sometimes our women too, because sometimes when they don't understand the language, because language is the key of so many things. Sometimes if you don't have a command of language, you get a little bit shy. You don't want to maybe talk to people, because some of them, when they're in that group, probably they don't want to interact with the other people there. So then they will just be there, and they will understand what is going on there. They will find out, and for somebody who is a little bit forward, we're able to ask, and they're able to understand and learn, because sometimes they talk about it just because you're not interested. You will not even understand, know that they talk about this. I know those things are going on there. They teach those things in BABA, and that is the time that women should be able to have networking among themselves. Yeah, because when they have a child, they should be able to meet other Swede or other nationalities, not only Sweden. You have to be Arab, Latinos, because in Sweden we have so many people from different backgrounds. So I think our women should be able to be more open when in whatever level they find themselves. Because that is when you accumulate, you educate yourself in one thing or the other.
Like the socialization you are talking about, I was able to ask one of the women this question, and we found out that it could be positive, it could be negative. Because some of them want to hear the negative ones, what they can do, and complain. And then years are rolling by. At the end, you don't achieve anything, and years have gone by. So I think they should concentrate more on the positive side of things, finding a solution to the problem. Now I want to ask you a final question. What advice are you going to give to a woman that just came into Sweden?
Well, the advice I advise her is that first she has to go to school, SFE, and learn the language. That is the key for everything. The language is the key. When she able to understand and able to speak the language, then she will have a little bit more confidence of herself and able to go into the system and able to understand things. And I know that sometimes some of the husbands too, they try to block their wives from doing things, to understand things, because they're a little bit scared. But when this woman was able to understand this language, she will know that, right? Then she will be able to know what to do, to be able to. I know some women too that came so early, maybe 6 months or 9, within 1 year, they went to the school and they did well. So they get job. They start working in all these old people's home and other places. Why some have been here for 5 years, 7 years, they have not been able to do anything. They just stay at home. So all depends on individuals. So that, of course, we the union need to, be able to make some seminars or maybe to able to enlighten people, because when they are home, they don't understand. They will not be enlightened because they believe that no, the system just said that we should just stay home, or maybe we don't need. There's nothing. They don't have anywhere to go to.
Yeah, but such women also should try and find out, try and belong to a union. Because if they sit at home, nobody's going to come and knock on your door. Come, let me help you. Like Ifeoma Sebo was saying, the opportunities don't come looking for you. You go looking for them when it comes to Sweden. So that is a very good advice. Like you said, they have to learn the language. Very important. And they have to socialize, have that networking. Because I think Ifeoma Sebo was saying in the seminar that some of the jobs are not advertised on the newspapers. Yes. You just have to social network and be able to get those jobs done. And somebody else also talked about updating the certificates, that because they have this problem that sometimes when you come from Africa, your certificate is not, recognized and all that. I don't know whether you've had people having such.
Yeah. In that seminar, of course, I had Ifeoma Sebo when she was saying in her own BSc, that they couldn't even they devalue it, so she has to go back to study in convos. Yeah. So I think.
But sometimes it can be very depressing after you must have finished university back home. They don't.
Yeah. I know somebody who was a doctor in Nigeria. Up to today, he was not able to. He tried to enroll to go into the medical. I think he was frustrated, and at the end of the day, he just let it be. So that thing is really bad. I think we as a community probably need to do something more to let the Swedish board to understand that. I mean, or probably we have to work with the embassy to know that, okay, this is a degree holder, these are good schools in Nigeria, and this person has really attended. You cannot just devalue the certificate. So I think we need to do something more about those things. It's not just it's not going to be a union fight, but I think probably when we should be able to write a petition, and maybe the authority should be able to understand. But at the same time, I think nobody should be discouraged because of that. They should be able to try to fight more, and because if you believe in something, they say, okay, you should go to school. I think 1 year, because somebody who has been studying for a long time in Nigeria comes there, I think that person still have that zeal of studying. 1 year more will not do any harm, because the years goes fast. If you focus, you go back. Of course, it's not encouraging, but what can we do? Yeah, we can't do much, because that is the society we are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for joining me, and I want to say thank you again for that Women's Day celebration. It opened my eyes, it inspired me, and when I went back to Gothenburg, I was telling all the women that I gathered some of them together. I said, look, you have to do something. It's not just about the auxiliary nursing thing. I've seen women that are just up there. They are doctors, they are pharmacists and all that. And women in Gothenburg have started doing something. Do you have any link with the Nigerian Union in Gothenburg?
I think during this women something, I think we invited I know they have the Nigerian Women Association in Gothenburg, which we invited them, headed by Mrs. Abika. I think, but one thing or the other, they couldn't able to make it. We have a little bit contact with the NFA there. So, which sometimes, we have contact with them, but not just directly, but we still have contact with them. somehow.
This is not going to be a one union fight. It's going to be a kind of.
I've been thinking about we should be able to link up with other unions, Israel, Norway, Finland, and Denmark, and able to do something so that we can interact much better. Do something because. Nigerians in Scandinavia, we are a lot now. We are growing a population that we should be able to do things together to they know that
and support each other.
Support each other. Yeah, that is it. It's not a one man thing. You need a unifying job, that work together. So, and I have to thank you so much also for at least for this your Afro-Scandic and you people are trying to bridge together the African community and the Swedish community. It's a good thing because this thing like that we don't have it yet in Stockholm. So we hope that these are the things that we need to sort to able to because I remember one time a Swedish came here to interview me about Nollywood something how the Nigerian Nollywood but now having a Nigerian coming up to do things because you should be to understand it much better than somebody else. So I think people should keep on working to bridge together between the Scandinavian and the African community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Viewers, this is all we have for you today. Tune in next time for another edition of Afro-Scandic Export. But from now, bye-bye.